I slept better than I had in years. That should have disturbed me. It did not. I woke slowly beneath a heavy comforter with morning sunlight slipping through unfamiliar curtains. For several seconds, I forgot where I was. Then I saw the room, the cream walls, the upholstered headboard, the framed wedding photograph on the dresser. Danielle and Todd stood beneath a canopy of autumn leaves, younger and smiling at one another as though neither of them could imagine becoming strangers. I stared at the photograph. Then the memories returned. The white room, the man with golden eyes, Todd's affair, the open marriage he had suggested and immediately rejected the moment I accepted, my announcement that I was quitting Danielle's job. I smiled into the pillow. Then another realization struck me. There was no baby crying, no 7-year-old climbing into my bed, no teenager rushing downstairs looking for missing soccer cleats, no housekeeper knocking to ask about a delivery, no security officer calling to confirm the children's route to school. Nothing. Silence. I sat up. The bedroom remained perfectly still. It was magnificent. I stretched beneath the blankets and simply listened to absolutely nothing. "Oh, Danielle," I whispered, "you really had no idea what you had." Then guilt pricked at me. Danielle wanted children, desperately. The quiet I considered a luxury had probably felt unbearable to her. I touched my stomach. A memory surfaced. Danielle sitting alone inside her car after the doctor's appointment, both hands over her abdomen as she cried. I immediately stopped smiling. "I'm sorry." I did not know whether she could hear me. Perhaps somewhere she was living my life. Perhaps she was waking beneath Jitai's roof with Seo-jin demanding breakfast while Ha-eun searched for ballet shoes and Min-jun rushed toward soccer practice. The thought made me sit straighter. My children. A wave of panic moved through me. Was Danielle taking care of them? Did she understand Seo-jun's different cries? Did she know Ha-eun refused strawberries if they were sliced too thin? Did she know Min-jun pretended not to care whether anyone attended his matches, but always searched the stands before kickoff? But first...
Welcome back, friends, to the forbidden love tale of Danielle and Soo-jin. We're glad that you're here. Now, if you're here for the first time, second time, or even the third time and you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Click the subscribe button and notification bell and become a part of our growing family. By doing so, you're helping us reach our 1,000 subscribers goal. Okay, let's get back to it.
And Jitai. I immediately pushed that thought aside. Danielle could deal with Jitai. For once, someone else could. A knock sounded against the bedroom door. I frowned. Another knock followed. "Danielle? Yes? Are you awake?" "Unfortunately." Silence. Then, "Can I come in?" I looked toward the door. "Interesting," he had asked. "Why?" "I brought coffee." I considered this. "Enter." Todd opened the door. He had already dressed for work. Dark navy suit, white shirt, muted tie, polished shoes, attorney. Everything about him looked controlled again, except his eyes. He had not slept. He carried a mug toward me and placed it on the bedside table. I looked at it. "What is this?" "Your coffee." I understood that part. Todd frowned. 2 creams, 1 sugar. I lifted the mug cautiously and tasted it. It was excellent. Apparently Danielle and I had at least one thing in common. Todd remained standing. I took another sip. "You may sit." His eyebrows lifted. "I may." "Yes." "This is my bedroom too." "Not currently." His jaw shifted. I gestured toward the chair near the window. "That is available." Todd stared at me for several seconds before walking to it. He sat. I leaned against the headboard with my coffee. Neither of us spoke. Finally, Todd exhaled. "I called her." I took another sip. "And?" I ended it. I lowered the cup. "This morning?" "Last night." "After I came upstairs?" "Yes." "Did she cry?" His eyebrows pulled together. "Why does that matter?" "I'm curious." Todd rubbed his thumb along the edge of his watch. She was angry. Understandable. She said I'd wasted her time. Also understandable. Todd looked at me sharply. You're remarkably sympathetic toward the woman sleeping with your husband. I am sympathetic toward women being lied to by men. She knew I was married. Then my sympathy is limited. That silenced him. I drank more coffee. Did you tell her not to contact you again? Yes. Did you block her? Yes. Show me. Todd's expression hardened. You don't trust me. I stared at him. Was that a serious statement? His mouth tightened. Then he took his phone from his pocket. He unlocked it and handed it to me. I checked. The number was blocked. The message thread had not been deleted. Good. Men who deleted evidence too quickly usually intended to rewrite history later. I returned the phone. Thank you. Todd looked irritated. You sound like you're reviewing a witness statement. You are an attorney. I assumed you would appreciate thoroughness. His lips almost moved. Almost. Then he remembered he was angry. What happens now? Breakfast. That isn't what I mean. I know. I placed the coffee down. Todd leaned forward, forearms resting on his knees. We need to talk about last night. We talked extensively. You said you were quitting your job. I remember. You cannot seriously expect to wake up this morning and resign. I absolutely can. Danielle? Yes? You love being a nurse practitioner. I have heard. His gaze sharpened. Heard? I corrected quickly. I have heard myself say it many times. That sentence doesn't even make sense. It is early. It's almost 9. I stared toward the window. 9? Yes. A small thrill moved through me. 9 in the morning. I was still in bed. This life was incredible. Todd watched my face. Why are you smiling? I enjoy mornings. You hate mornings. Perhaps I have been cured. He stared. I pushed back the covers. Do I have to give notice? Todd blinked. What? For the job. Yes, you have to give notice. How much? Usually several weeks. You have patience. I groaned. Of course I do. Todd rose. This is exactly what I'm talking about. You're treating your entire life like you woke up inside it yesterday. My hand stopped on the blanket. For 1 second, the room went completely silent. Todd watched me carefully. I looked up. What a strange thing to say. Is it? Yes. You're different. Your wife discovered you were having an affair. I know. That tends to change people. Not like this. I stood. Todd studied me. You didn't cry. Would you prefer I cry? No. You didn't scream after the first few minutes. I regained control. You agreed to an open marriage you once told me would destroy everything you believed about us. And you rejected it. Because you weren't supposed to want it. The admission slipped out before he could stop it. I smiled slowly. There, we found the truth again. Todd looked away. I walked past him toward the bathroom. You wanted theoretical equality. He turned. What? You wanted to say we were both free because you were certain I would never exercise my freedom. That isn't. It is exactly what happened. I stopped at the bathroom doorway. You wanted a faithful wife and an unfaithful husband with mutually agreed upon terminology. Todd's face tightened. That is unfair. You committed adultery. Yes. You suggested changing the marriage rules. Yes. I agreed. Yes. You became furious. His silence answered. So we have established the problem. What problem? You're selfish? His eyebrows shot upward. I entered the bathroom. Behind me, Todd said, You cannot just say something like that and walk away. I looked back. I believe I just did. Then I closed the door. 20 minutes later, I stood inside Danielle Carter's closet. I nearly cried. Not because it was beautiful, because it was manageable. Jite had bought me clothing as though fabric could replace attention. Entire rooms of dresses, shoes I had worn once, jewelry I had never requested. Danielle's closet was expensive but practical. Blouses, trousers, dresses, jeans. I pulled out a pair and stared at them. I could not remember the last time I had worn ordinary denim without someone choosing it for an arranged, casual appearance. I changed into jeans, a soft sweater, and flat shoes. Flat shoes. I walked around the closet, simply enjoying them. Todd appeared at the doorway. He looked me over. Where are you going? Downstairs. You're dressed. I generally prefer clothing outside the bedroom. I mean, you look like you're going somewhere. I might. His expression immediately became wary. Where? I stared at him. Yesterday you wanted an open marriage. Todd closed his eyes. Please, stop using that sentence every time I ask you a question. It remains useful. You know what I mean. No, I do not. I'm asking where my wife is going. And I am wondering why your wife must report her movements. His jaw tightened, because last night you almost drove away in a storm after discovering my affair. Almost. I'm worried about you. That softened something in me, barely. Concern was different from control. I looked at him more carefully. I'm going to breakfast. I made breakfast. That surprised me. You cook? Todd looked offended. Yes, interesting. What did you think I lived on before we got married? I don't know. Danielle, we've been together since college. Another dangerous moment. I forced a smile. Apparently betrayal has damaged my recollection of your culinary abilities. He did not smile. Come downstairs. The kitchen smelled like coffee and butter. Todd had made eggs, toast, turkey sausage, and fruit. I sat at the island. He placed a plate in front of me. I stared at it. You did all this? Yes. Why? Because we need to talk, and apparently feeding you increases my chances of keeping you in one room. That almost made me laugh. I picked up my fork. He sat across from me. For several minutes, we ate quietly. Then I noticed Todd watching me. What? You're eating sausage. I looked down. Yes. You haven't eaten meat in 6 months. I slowly stopped chewing. Danielle was vegetarian. Of course she was. I swallowed. I changed my mind. Overnight? Yes. Todd leaned back. What else changed overnight? I reached for toast. Several things. Name them. I no longer wish to work. I gathered that. I do not want an open marriage. His expression softened slightly. But, I continued, that is only because you clearly lack the emotional maturity to survive one. His softness disappeared. And I will not tolerate another affair. I ended it. Good. I said I ended it. And I said good. Todd rubbed his forehead. You are impossible. I have been called worse. By whom? Jite's face flashed through my mind. I looked down at my plate. People. Todd became quiet. Then he said, Are you afraid of me? I looked up sharply. What? Last night when I touched your wrist, you looked at me like... He stopped. Like what? Like you were preparing to defend yourself. I stared at him. That reaction had not belonged to Danielle. It belonged entirely to me. Jite had never struck me. He had never needed to. Power surrounded him. Men obeyed before he raised his voice. Sometimes a hand around my wrist had not been violence. It had simply been a reminder that leaving was not always my decision. Todd continued watching me. I have never hurt you. I know. Then why did you look at me that way? I lowered my fork, because yesterday I learned that I do not know you as well as I believed. That answer satisfied him enough to stop asking. For now. He looked down at his coffee. I don't want to lose you. I studied him. Then why did you risk me? He had no immediate answer. Eventually he said, I thought you were already gone. What does that mean? You stopped talking to me. My attention sharpened. You worked more. You came home later. You stopped touching me. You barely slept. I asked what was happening, and you kept saying nothing. The diagnosis. Danielle had been hiding it. Todd continued. I convinced myself you didn't want me anymore. So you found someone who did. His eyes lowered. Yes. That was cowardly. I know. There was no defense this time. I looked at him differently. Todd was not Jite. Jite would have explained why necessity justified his choices. Todd looked ashamed. It did not erase anything. But I noticed. You said something else last night, he said. What? You said I should have stayed beside you until you were ready to tell me what was wrong. My stomach tightened. Todd leaned forward. What is wrong? Your affair. Before that. I reached for my coffee. Danielle. I hated hearing her name spoken directly to me. What happened? Nothing. There is something. No. You haven't been yourself for months. He was too perceptive. I stood. I want to see our bank accounts. Todd stared up at me. What? Our finances. Now? Yes. That was an impressive change of subject. I'm aware. Danielle. I met his gaze. Show me. For a moment, I thought he would refuse. Then he sighed. Fine. He retrieved his laptop. I sat beside him at the dining table while he opened account after account. Checking, savings, retirement, brokerage, property records, insurance. My eyes widened at several numbers. Todd noticed. You know how much money we have. Of course. I did not. Not exactly. Danielle and Todd were not Jite wealthy, not remotely. But they were comfortable, very comfortable. And most importantly, the money was legitimate. No shell companies hiding weapons shipments. No unexplained transfers. No accounts attached to names I knew belonged to dead men. Just investments, salaries, mortgages, taxes, and ordinary wealthy people problems. I could have kissed the laptop. Todd pointed toward another line. This is your retirement account. My retirement account? Yes. In my name? Yes. I stared. Jite had given me access to money, but everything ultimately belonged to the Han family, to the organization, to him. Danielle had money that was hers, something hot pressed behind my eyes. Todd noticed. What? Nothing. You look like you're about to cry. I am not. You are. I closed the laptop. I said I am not. Todd watched me. Then his voice softened. You really thought I could leave you with nothing? I looked at him. The question carried hurt. Danielle must have trusted him once. Perhaps she still had. I did not know what to think. Todd sat back. Even if we divorced, you would leave with half of what we built. Your retirement is yours. Your income is yours. My income. My account, my car, my choices, my freedom. I suddenly understood something. The man in white had not exaggerated. Danielle had possessed freedoms Soo-jin had forgotten were possible, and she had still been miserable. Not because she was ungrateful, because freedom did not protect anyone from heartbreak. I stood. Todd looked up. Where are you going now? I picked up my handbag. Shopping. He stared. Shopping? Yes. For what? I do not know yet. Do you want me to come? No. His expression changed. I noticed immediately. Not anger, disappointment. Interesting. I have court at 11 anyway. Then you should go. Todd stood. He hesitated before moving toward me. Can I kiss you goodbye? The question startled me. Jite had never asked permission to kiss his wife. He simply had. I studied Todd for several seconds. No. Pain crossed his face, but he nodded. All right. No argument, no grabbing, no demand for explanation. He collected his briefcase. At the kitchen doorway, he stopped. I meant what I said. What? I ended it. I held his gaze. I hope you did. I want to fix this. I looked around Danielle's beautiful kitchen. At the coffee. At the untouched second plate. At the life she had built with this man. Then I looked at Todd. That depends. On what? Whether you want your wife back. His brow furrowed. Of course I do. I smiled faintly. No. He looked confused. You want the woman who trusted you enough that you could betray her without consequences. His face changed. That woman is gone. Then I picked up Danielle's keys. This time, when I walked through the front door, there was no rain, no screaming, no desperate husband following me into the driveway. Just morning sunshine. And for the first time in 16 years, I stepped outside without telling a single person where I was going.
For months, the way she had stared at me when I admitted I did not love the other woman and had never intended to leave my marriage. It should not have. I was the one who had introduced the idea months ago. I had sat across from my wife and suggested that perhaps we needed to redefine our marriage. I had used every careful, clinical phrase I could think of. Different needs, individual freedom, removing pressure, being realistic about where we were. I had made it sound progressive.com, reasonable.com, almost enlightened. Danielle had looked at me as though I had slapped her. She had refused immediately. No discussion, no negotiation, no possibility. And if I was being truthful with myself, I had known she would refuse before I ever suggested it. Maybe that had been the point. I could tell myself I had offered honesty. She could say no. Then, somehow, I could continue doing what I wanted while convincing myself our broken marriage was partly responsible. Because the moment Danielle, immediate, absolute, then there was everything-else.com. Danielle had always been emotional, not irrational, never that. But when she loved completely. When she hurt, she felt it deeply. I had expected screaming last night. I deserved screaming. I had expected tears to be something thrown across the kitchen. I had expected her to get in the car and leave. For a few minutes, that was exactly what seemed about to happen. Then something changed. She put the keys down. She stopped crying, and suddenly my wife was looking at me like opposing counsel. Questions, precise ones. How long? Did I love her? Was I leaving? What exactly did I want? Then she had agreed to the open marriage just to watch me reject my own proposal. The memory made me close my eyes briefly. What the hell were you thinking? I was not sure whether I meant the affair or the open marriage. Probably both. And this morning had been even stranger. She had slept until nearly 9. Danielle never slept until 9. She had eaten turkey sausage. She had stopped eating meat 6 months ago. She had seemed delighted by jeans and flat shoes she had owned for years. Then she had looked at our financial accounts as though she was seeing the numbers for the first time. She had once told me that caring for patients was one of the few things in her life she knew she had been born to do. Now she wanted to quit, not take leave. Maybe discovering the affair had shocked her more deeply than I understood. Maybe this was control. I had taken something from her. Security.com. Maybe now she was reclaiming control wherever she could find it. Her work, her money, her time, me. That explanation made sense. Almost. But it did not explain the way she looked at me. Sometimes Danielle had stared at me this morning like she knew me better than I knew myself. Other times, it felt like she had never seen me before. I hated that thought. I rejected it immediately. My wife was angry. My wife was hurt. My wife was behaving differently because I had given her every reason to. There was no mystery, only consequences. My phone remained face down in the passenger seat. I had blocked Marissa before going upstairs the previous night. It had taken less than 3 minutes. 4 months of stupidity reduced to one final call. She had been furious. I had deserved that too. I had made promises through implication. Never that I would leave Danielle. I had been clear about that, but enough late nights in hotel rooms created expectations, whether you named them or not. Marissa had asked whether Danielle had made me end it. I told her no. That had been the truth. Danielle had not asked. She had barely seemed interested. That bothered me too. I wanted anger. I wanted jealousy. I wanted evidence that losing me still frightened her. Instead, she had calmly informed me that if I wanted monogamy, I should practice it. I rubbed my jaw. She was right. That was the worst part. My office occupied the 34th floor of a downtown Chicago tower. Normally, work corrected me. The moment I entered the firm, everything became orderly. T-positions, contracts, court deadlines, .com strategy, .com. Problems that responded to logic. I needed that today. My assistant stood as I approached. "Good morning, Mr. Carter." "Morning, Lisa. You have the Harrington call at 10, partners meeting at 11:30, and Judge Wallace's clerk moved the conference to 2. Fine." She hesitated. "Everything okay?" Apparently, I looked worse than I thought. Long night. She gave me a sympathetic smile. "There's coffee in your office." "Thank you." I stepped inside and closed the door. For the next 2 hours, I forced myself to work. I reviewed a motion, answered emails, took the Harrington call, corrected an associate's argument before he embarrassed himself in front of a client. Normal, predictable. At 11:14, my office door opened without a knock. I looked up. Marissa Grant stood there. My stomach dropped. She was dressed professionally in a charcoal suit, her dark hair pulled away from her face, but there was nothing professional about the anger in her eyes. I rose from behind my desk. "What are you doing here?" Her expression hardened. "Your assistant tried to stop me." "She should have. Todd." "Marissa, you cannot be here." She stepped farther into the office. "You call me after midnight. Tell me it's over. Block my number, and now I'm not even allowed to speak to you." I moved around the desk. "Lower your voice." "No?" I glanced toward the office door. She had left it partially open. I crossed the room and pushed it nearly closed. Not all the way. I had no intention of being completely shut inside an office with her. Marissa folded her arms. What happened? And suddenly, for months, mean nothing. I exhaled. "This is exactly why I told you not to contact me again. I deserve more than 3 minutes on the phone." "You deserve an apology." "I gave you one." "No, you gave me a dismissal." Her voice cracked slightly. That bothered me. Not because I wanted her back, because I had caused this. "I'm sorry." She laughed bitterly. "That's supposed to make everything fine?" "No. You told me you were miserable. I was. You told me your marriage had been falling apart. It was. You told me Danielle barely spoke to you anymore. That was true. And you were the one who came to me. I know. Then stop standing there acting like I dragged you into an affair." "I'm not. It sounds like you are." I shook my head. "You didn't make me do anything. Every decision I made was mine." Her face tightened. "That doesn't make what happened between us meaningless." "Okay, I didn't say it was meaningless. Then what are you saying?" "Okay." I looked at her. That it was wrong. Her expression changed. "Todd, the affair was a mistake." She went completely still. "A mistake?" "Yes. You didn't call it a mistake when you were in my bed." "No." "Or when you told me you missed me." "No." "Or when you made plans to see me again." I know. Her eyes began to shine. I hated what I had done, but I would not soften the truth now just because it hurt. "I made one terrible decision," I said quietly, "and instead of stopping, I kept making it. You cared about me." "Yes." As her face shifted with something almost hopeful, I immediately continued. "But caring about you does not make what I did right." The hope disappeared. "So what now? You pretend none of it happened and go back to playing devoted husband?" "No." "Then what?" "I take responsibility for what I did." She shook her head. "You're doing this because Danielle caught you." "Danielle finding out forced me to look at what I was doing. That isn't the same thing." "It isn't." I walked back toward my desk. Marissa followed me with her eyes. I could blame Danielle, I said. I could say she became distant, that she stopped talking to me, that I felt rejected. All of that is true. Yes. Then why are you acting like it doesn't matter? 'Cause none of it gave me permission to cheat. I should have gone home and fought with my wife. I should have demanded that we talk. I should have asked her 100 times what was wrong until she finally told me. You did ask, not enough. You don't know that. I know I gave up to Isley. Her jaw tightened. And what about me? I looked at her. I'm sorry. Her laugh was quiet and wounded. You keep saying that because I am. You expect me to believe you suddenly realized you love your wife. I stared at her. There was no hesitation this time. I never stopped loving my wife. The office door moved behind her. Neither of us noticed. Not yet. Marissa's face went pale. Then, what was I? A selfish decision I kept making because being with you was easier than facing what was broken at home. I do. You used me. The words landed exactly where they should have. Yes. And now, suddenly, it isn't. I don't know what my marriage is. Then why end this? Because whatever happens with Danielle, I need to stop being the kind of man who comes home to his wife after leaving another woman's bed. Marissa looked away. Her shoulders rose and fell. Then she said quietly, she may never forgive you. I know. She may leave anyway. I know. Dan, what are you trying to save? My marriage. Her eyes snapped back to mine. Why? The answer came before I had time to think about how it would sound. Because I love my wife. The office door opened. Marissa turned. I looked past her. Danielle stood in the doorway, calm. Everything inside me stopped. She was wearing the same jeans and soft sweater from that morning, her handbag over one shoulder. Her face was unreadable, completely calm. Her eyes moved from me to Marissa, then back to me. No one spoke. Marissa recovered first. Danielle. My wife's gaze shifted toward her. So you're Marissa? Marissa straightened. Yes? Danielle looked her over once, not cruelly, not jealously, almost curiously. Then she entered the office and quietly closed the door behind her. My pulse began pounding. Danielle. She lifted one hand. Please continue. I stared at her. What? You were speaking. Eyes settled on me. I would hate to interrupt. Marissa looked between us. This probably isn't the best. No. Danielle's voice remained calm. It is actually an excellent time. Something about her composure unsettled me more than screaming would have. She moved farther into the room. You came here because he blocked you. Maurice's face tightened. That is between Todd and me. Danielle tilted her head. No. There was no anger in the word. That somehow made it sharper. When the man in question is my husband, it stopped being only between the two of you 4 months ago. Marissa looked at me. I wished she wouldn't. Danielle noticed. Of course, she noticed. Do not look at him for help, she said. Maurice's eyes returned to her. I'm not asking him for help. Good. Danielle placed her hand back on one of the chairs. Then she looked at me. You said you love your wife. My throat tightened. Yes. Were you saying that because you knew I was outside? No. Kay frowned. She gestured toward the door. I was walking down the corridor when I heard voices. Kay opened the door when I heard my name. My heartbeat accelerated. So she had heard enough. How much? Her eyes told me she had heard the part that mattered. Marissa shifted uncomfortably. I should leave. Yes, I said immediately. Danielle looked at me, then at her. Yes, she agreed. Marissa picked up her handbag. But before she reached the door, Danielle spoke again. Did he ever tell you he was leaving me? Marissa stopped. No. Did he ever tell you he loved you? Marissa swallowed. No. Danielle nodded once. Thank you. Marissa's face flushed. For what? For answering honestly. Something changed in Marissa's expression. You don't hate me? Danielle considered the question. I don't know you well enough to hate you. Then I think your judgment was terrible. Marissa flinched, but his was worse. My eyes lifted to hers. He made vows to me, Danielle said. You did not. Almost detached, whatever he told you about our marriage. It was his responsibility to end one relationship before beginning another. Marissa nodded faintly. I'm sorry. Marissa's lips pressed together. That is not the same as saying, I believe you regret the affair. The room went silent. Then Danielle stepped aside from the door. You should go. Marissa looked at me. I shook my head once. Nothing else needed to be said. Her face hardened. Fine. She opened the door, then stopped and looked back at me. You really mean it? I knew exactly what she was asking. Yes. This is over. Yes. And you're choosing her. I looked at Danielle.com. She was staring directly at me. Not pleading, not hoping, simply waiting to hear whether I could say the truth in front of both women. Yes. Marissa's eyes filled again. I choose my wife. Danielle's expression changed. Barely, but I saw it. Something flickered behind her eyes. Surprise, perhaps even discomfort. Marissa nodded once and left. The door closed behind her. Now there were only two of us. My wife stood across the office from me. I did not know what to say. Apparently, neither did she. Then Danielle walked toward the desk. You really blocked her, and you told her last night it was over. Yes. She studied my face. Why? Then you know why. I heard what you told her. I'm asking what you are telling me. I moved around the desk until nothing stood between us. I love you. Her eyes widened slightly. I continued. I made an incredibly selfish decision. And then I repeated it for 4 months because I was too much of a coward to deal with what was happening between us. She said nothing. I don't know why you changed your mind about the open marriage. Her expression shifted. You were the one who suggested it. I know. She became still. There was no point lying to her anymore. I wanted to do what I wanted without feeling like a bad husband. You were still a bad husband. I know. That surprised her. I stepped closer. Danielle, I don't expect you to forgive me because I ended the affair. Good. I don't expect you to trust me better, okay? And I don't expect what I said to Marissa to erase anything. Very good. I looked at her, but I meant every word. Her eyes held mine. I love my wife. There was that strange expression again, not what I expected from Danielle. Almost as if hearing that sentence made her uncomfortable for reasons beyond the affair. She looked away first. And for one brief second, I had the strangest feeling that the woman standing in my office was carrying someone else's guilt. But before I could examine the thought, she gestured towards the door. I should go so soon. I did not come here to watch you break up with your mistress. Why did you come? She paused, then looked back at me. I wanted to see where you work. I frowned. You've been here dozens of times. She went perfectly still, only for a second. Then she smiled. A calm, almost elegant smile that did not belong to the woman I had known for 13 years. I wanted to see it differently. Before I could ask what that meant, she opened the door. Danielle. She looked back. I hesitated, then asked the only question that mattered. Does hearing any of this change anything? Her gaze softened slightly. I don't know. Not yes. My stomach tightened. What will you do? Then she walked away. And for the first time since the affair began, I understood the difference between my wife threatening to leave and my wife knowing that she could.
By the time Todd came home, I had already decided I would not mention Marissa. At least not first. I wanted to see what he would do when there was no audience, no mistress standing in his office, no angry wife in the doorway, no one forcing him to perform remorse, just him and me, or Danielle, as far as he knew. The garage door opened shortly before 6. I was sitting at the kitchen island with a glass of water, and Danielle's laptop open in front of me. I had spent the previous hour attempting to understand her work schedule. It was terrible. Patients beginning before 8 in the morning. Follow-ups, medication reviews, lab results, messages, paperwork. Why anyone voluntarily organized their life this way was beyond me. I had just reached the conclusion that retirement remained the superior option when I heard the interior door open. Todd entered carrying his briefcase. He stopped when he saw me. I looked up. For several seconds, neither of us spoke. Then he quietly closed the door behind him. Hi. Hello. His movements seemed careful, not frightened exactly, more like a man approaching an animal that had already bitten him once. I returned my attention to the laptop. He set his briefcase near the wall. You're looking at work. I'm studying the enemy. Todd stared. I looked at him. What? Nothing. You made a face. I'm trying to understand how your patients became the enemy overnight. They demand too much. They're sick. Very inconsiderate of them. His mouth twitched. He tried not to smile. Failed. I noticed. He noticed me noticing. The smile disappeared. Interesting. We were apparently not yet allowed to enjoy each other. Todd moved toward the refrigerator. Have you eaten? No? I can cook. I narrowed my eyes. What? You cooked breakfast. Yes. And now dinner. I've been feeding myself since I was 18. I'm discovering hidden talents. He opened the refrigerator. I can also do laundry. I stared. Now you're simply showing off. That earned a quiet laugh. I looked back at the laptop before he could see my own smile. This was dangerous, not because Todd was seductive, because ordinary things were. A man opening a refrigerator, a husband asking whether his wife had eaten, someone coming home when he said he would. Soo-jin had once taken all of those things for granted. Then gradually, Jitae stopped doing them. No, that was unfair. Jitae had never cooked. But he had once come home. There had been a time when I knew approximately when my husband would walk through the door. Before the organization expanded. Before dinners became meetings. Before sleeping beside him became something that happened only when our schedules accidentally collided. Todd pulled ingredients from the refrigerator. I closed the laptop. What are you making? Chicken. I thought I was vegetarian. He stopped, then slowly looked over his shoulder. You remembered? I frowned. That had sounded wrong. I mean, yes, of course I remembered. He stared at me for another second before turning back. You ate turkey sausage this morning. I was experimenting. With meat? Yes. After 6 months? Yes. He nodded slowly. I'm not asking. Excellent decision. He took out chicken anyway. I'm making enough for both of us. Eat it or don't. Reasonable. I remained at the island watching him. After a few minutes, Todd glanced toward me. You're staring. So were you this morning. That was different. How? I was concerned. I'm curious. About me cooking? About you? His hands stopped. That one landed harder than I intended. He looked at me. I should have corrected it. Instead, I let the silence sit between us. Todd finally turned back to the stove. What do you want to know? Everything. Nothing. What kind of husband he had been before the affair. Whether he made Danielle laugh the way he had laughed in his office. Whether he always came home this early when he was not pretending to work. Whether he had ever held her while she cried. Whether he would have held her after the diagnosis if she had trusted him enough to tell him. That question did not belong to me, so I asked something safer. Why did you marry her? Todd went still. My stomach dropped. Again, I had done it again. I corrected myself immediately. Why did you marry me? He turned. His expression was unreadable. That is the second time today. I know. You referred to yourself as Danielle in my office. I explained that. And now you just said her. I smiled lightly. Perhaps I am experiencing an identity crisis. Todd did not smile. He turned the burner down and faced me fully. What is going on with you? Your affair. Stop. My eyebrows rose. Excuse me? I know what I did. His voice remained calm. But every time I ask why you're behaving differently, you point to the affair as though it explains everything. It explains quite a lot. Not all of this. I folded my arms. What exactly is all of this? You look at your clothes like they belong to someone else. I said nothing. You looked at our accounts like you had never seen our finances. Still nothing. You keep asking questions about things you already know. People reassess their lives after betrayal. You forgot you stopped eating meat. That was not important information. To you it was. I leaned back. Todd watched me carefully. I did not like being studied. Jitai studied people too. The difference was that Jitai usually did it while deciding whether they were lying. Todd was trying to decide whether I was all right. That was somehow worse. I am not losing my mind, I said. I didn't say you were. You were thinking it. I was thinking maybe you should talk to someone. A therapist? Yes. No. Why? Because I do not wish to pay someone to ask how I feel for an hour. Todd actually laughed. I frowned. What is funny? You said almost the exact same thing when I suggested therapy 2 years ago. I froze. Of course Danielle had. Todd's smile faded. I recovered. Then at least I remained consistent. He studied me for another moment, then turned back toward dinner. He let it go. For now, we ate at the kitchen island. Chicken, roasted vegetables, rice. It was good. Annoyingly good. Todd sat across from me rather than beside me. I noticed the choice. Space. He was giving me space. For several minutes, we ate quietly. Then he placed his fork down. I'm sorry about today. I looked up. Which part? Marissa coming to the office. You did not invite her. No. Then why are you apologizing? Because you should never have had to meet her. I considered that. No, I probably shouldn't have. His jaw tightened. I should have ended it before you ever knew she existed. Yes. Todd nodded once. No defense. That was becoming irritatingly difficult to argue with. I picked up my glass. She is beautiful. His eyes widened. I almost laughed. You do not have to look terrified. I'm not terrified. You are. I'm cautious. Better word. He reached for his water. Why are we discussing whether Marissa is beautiful? I observed something. What? She is your type. Todd nearly choked. I waited while he coughed. Then he stared at me. What exactly is my type? Professional, polished, intelligent, controlled. His face changed slightly. She reminded me of you. That surprised me. I lowered my glass. She looks nothing like me. I didn't say physically. Todd looked at his plate. She was easy to talk to. There was no defensiveness in his voice, just honesty. I see. She didn't know me well enough to know when I was avoiding something. That was more revealing. Danielle did? He looked at me sharply. I sighed. There. I did it again. Yes. I am aware. Todd leaned back. Maybe stop talking about yourself like you're interviewing me about another woman. An absurd laugh almost escaped me. If only he knew. Instead, I asked, did your affair begin because you wanted sex? He stared. Direct questions apparently disturbed Americans. Do you want me to answer that? Yes. No. No, you do not want to answer? No, it didn't begin because of sex. Then why? Todd looked toward the dark windows. Because she'd listened. That answer hurt more than I expected, perhaps because I understood it. I had spent years wanting Jite to listen, not fix, not buy, not protect. Listen. Todd rubbed his thumb against the edge of his glass. I could tell Marissa something about my day, and she would ask another question, and I did not. You used to. The words were soft. I looked at him. Then you stopped. Again, the diagnosis sat between us without him knowing it existed. Danielle had not simply stopped caring. She had been grieving. Alone. I felt defensive of her. You could have asked why. I did. More than once? Yes. How many times? His eyes met mine. Does it matter? Yes. I don't know. 10, 20. I had not expected that. Todd continued. You kept saying you were tired. That work was stressful. That you didn't want to talk. I looked down. Danielle's memories surfaced. Todd standing in the bedroom doorway. You okay? Danielle turning away. Just tired. Todd touching her shoulder. Danielle pretending to sleep. Another night. Did something happen at work? No. Another. Talk to me. There's nothing to talk about. I closed my eyes. She'd pushed him away. Still. He had cheated. Both could be true. That seemed to be the irritating lesson of this entire exchange of lives. Two people could hurt each other without one becoming entirely innocent and the other entirely monstrous. I should have kept asking, Todd said. I opened my eyes. Yes. I should have insisted. Yes. I should have dragged you to therapy. No. He laughed. I smiled despite myself. Then he became serious again. I should have stayed. That quieted me. What? Even when you pushed me away. His gaze lowered. I should have stayed close enough that when you were ready to tell me whatever was wrong, I was still there. My throat tightened. Danielle should have heard that. Not me. I looked away. Todd continued. Instead, I took your silence personally. You thought she... I caught myself. He noticed. I corrected. You thought I stopped loving you. Yes? Did you stop loving me? No. Immediate. No hesitation. I hated how much weight that answer carried. Then why didn't love stop you? Todd's face tightened. It should have. That is not an answer. No. He took a breath. Love doesn't automatically make someone honorable. I stared at him. That was perhaps the most intelligent thing he had said since I entered Danielle's life. He continued. I loved you and still made selfish choices. His eyes met mine. One does not erase the other. I looked down at my wedding ring. Jitai loved me. I knew he did. For years I had decided his absence meant he did not. Perhaps love had never been the real question. Maybe the question was what people did with it. After dinner, Todd cleared the dishes. I stayed at the island. He did not ask me to help. Another point in his favor. When the dishwasher started, he returned but did not sit. There's something else. I looked up. What? I want you to have my phone password. I stared at him. I already know it. His eyebrows rose. Did Danielle? Apparently she did. Right. He pulled the phone from his pocket anyway. I changed it 6 months ago. Interesting. That explained how the affair stayed hidden. He handed me the phone. I changed it back. To what? Our anniversary. I stared. That is embarrassingly sentimental. Probably. Also not secure. Definitely. A small smile touched his mouth, then disappeared. I don't want there to be anything you cannot see. I looked at the phone. I do not want to inspect your phone every night. I know. Trust built through surveillance is still not trust. Todd became still. Yes. That seemed to surprise him. It surprised me too. Apparently, living with the black dragon had taught me something useful. I pushed the phone back toward him. Keep it. You don't want to check? No. You believe me? No. His face fell slightly. I believe that if you intend to deceive me, eventually you will find a method I have not thought to monitor. That is depressing. It is practical. Then how do I rebuild trust? I studied him. Consistency. He waited. Do what you say. He nodded. Come home when you say you're coming home. Another nod. Do not disappear. I won't. Do not make promises because you think I need to hear them. Okay. And stop asking me to forgive you. His brows pulled together. I haven't. Good. Continue. Todd almost smiled. I am going upstairs. He nodded. I'll sleep in the guest room. Something inside me shifted. I did not understand why. This was what I wanted. Distance, boundaries, control. Yet there was something unexpectedly lonely about imagining him at the other end of the hallway. I hated that too. Todd. He looked up. Yes? I hesitated. Why did you marry me? The real question from earlier. His expression softened. He leaned back against the counter. Because you made me feel like I could become more than I was. I said nothing. We were 21. A smile touched his face. I had 2 suits. One didn't fit. I almost smiled. You were convinced I was going to be some great attorney. Were you not? I was terrified. That surprised me. I didn't know whether I would even get into law school. He looked toward the kitchen as though seeing another place entirely. You had already planned our future. What future? Apartment first, house later, careers, travel. He paused. Then his expression changed. Children. My stomach tightened. Todd looked down. You always wanted them. There was no accusation, just history. I didn't. I know. I thought we had time to figure it out. I gripped the back of the chair. He still did not know. Danielle had learned that choice had already been taken from her. The words nearly came out. She cannot have children. I could have told him. Perhaps it would explain everything. Her withdrawal, her grief, the months of distance. Maybe Todd would understand. Maybe he would forgive the silence. But it was not my truth to reveal. Danielle had explicitly told me not to tell him. So I remained silent. Todd looked at me. I know that hurt you. More than you understand. I was selfish about that too. You were honest? He frowned. What? You did not pretend to want children. No, that matters. Not enough. Perhaps. Todd studied me. You really are different. The words came softly this time, not suspicious, almost thoughtful. I forced myself not to react. Maybe I needed to be. Maybe. He looked tired. For the first time that day, I noticed just how tired. Not attorney tired, not long day tired. A man afraid that every sentence might determine whether his marriage survived. I felt something dangerous. Compassion. I did not want compassion for Todd. Compassion created openings. Openings became attachments. Attachments became complications. I moved toward the staircase. Good night. Danielle. I stopped. I meant what I said today. I looked back. About loving you. My throat tightened. He had no idea how complicated those words were. He loved Danielle. I was not Danielle. But when he looked at me, he saw her. I know. Todd's face softened. It was not the response he wanted, but he accepted it. Good night. I went upstairs. I showered and changed into one of Danielle's nightgowns. Then I stood in front of the bedroom mirror. Soo-jin stared back at me. My face, my body, at least to my eyes. I touched the glass. You are becoming too comfortable here. My reflection offered no argument. This is temporary. Silence. Todd is Danielle's husband. Still silence. And Jita is yours. That sentence felt heavier. I lowered my hand. Somewhere across the world, Danielle was probably sitting inside my estate. With my children. With Jita. Perhaps she was doing exactly what I was doing now. Learning that the marriage she had inherited was more complicated than she first believed. I climbed into bed. Alone. The house was quiet. Todd was somewhere down the hall. For years I had prayed for this kind of silence. No baby, no guards, no husband returning at 2 a.m, no demands, no danger. Yet tonight the silence felt different. Not peaceful. Empty. I rolled onto my side. Then I heard footsteps in the hallway. They stopped outside the bedroom. No knock. No door opening, just silence. I knew it was Todd. He stood there for perhaps 10 seconds. Then the footsteps continued toward the guest room. He had wanted to come in. He had chosen not to. I stared at the closed door. That tiny act affected me more than it should have, because Jitai would have entered. Not cruelly, not violently. He simply would have considered the bedroom his too. His wife his too. Todd had stopped outside a door and respected a boundary I had not even needed to repeat. I pulled the comforter higher. This is becoming inconvenient. My reflection in the distant mirror seemed amused. I turned away from it. Tomorrow I would deal with Danielle's job. Eventually, Todd would need to know why his wife had changed months before his affair. And sooner or later, Danielle and I would have to return to that white room and decide what we were doing to each other's lives. But tonight, one truth was becoming increasingly difficult to ignore. Todd Carter had betrayed his wife. He had behaved selfishly, cowardly, cruelly. And yet, he was trying. Not perfectly, not dramatically. Simply one decision at a time. He came home. He told the truth. He gave me space. He stopped outside the door. And for the first time since waking inside Danielle Carter's life, I wondered whether the most dangerous thing about this exchange was not that I might destroy her marriage. It was that I might begin to understand why she had loved him enough to stay.
Okay, friends. That's it for part 4 of the forbidden love tale of Danielle and Soo-jin. We hope you're enjoying it. We will resume and conclude Michael and Minji love journey in the upcoming days. Thank you for your patience. Now, if you're here for the first time, second time, or even the third time and you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Click the subscribe button and notification bell and become a part of our growing family. By doing so, you're helping us reach our 1,000 subscribers goal. Tell us your favorite part and where are you watching from. We want to know how far our stories are reaching. We read and respond to each and every one of your comments. Thank you.